Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about what it's like living in the United States from the perspective of someone who was born in Indonesia and spent most of my teenage years there. Before we get into it, I want to make sure something is clear. This is purely my personal experience. I'm not here to belittle Western culture or compare one side as better or worse. I'm simply sharing what I went through, what I learned, what surprised me, and how it changed the way I see both places. If you're someone considering moving to the US or even just curious about what the transition feels like, I hope this gives you a clearer picture. Number one is that independence is expected. I'm not gonna lie, I was already expecting this before coming to the US, but it still surprised me anyway when I experienced it firsthand. In the US, it's normal for young adults to move out and start living on their own. As soon as someone starts earning income, many of them usually leave their parents' house. Even before marriage, it's not seen as unusual. It's actually seen as growth. So coming from Indonesian values, that was new to me. In Indonesia, and in many Asian cultures, living with your parents until marriage is normal. Sometimes, even after marriage, families continue living together. Grandparents usually help with childcare, and decisions are discussed as a family. Interdependence is quite normal. I don't think one is better than the other because I see benefits in both. Living independently teaches responsibility fast. You learn how to handle bills, mistakes, and consequences on your own. And sometimes, the pain of those mistakes sticks with you in a way that makes you stronger. But, interdependence also has its strengths. The world today is not easy. Raising a family on a single income is very difficult. Childcare is really expensive here. Having family around can reduce stress, financially and emotionally. And there's something meaningful about spending more time with your parents while they're still here. In the West, independence is often seen as strength. But in Indonesia, strength can also mean standing together. Number two, affordability. Another thing living in the US made me realize is the huge difference in affordability. If you look at the median income in the United States, a single person usually makes around $45,000 to $55,000 a year. That's the median income. Now, compare that to the average price of a new car, which is around $49,000. That's almost 1 year of income for a new car. Of course, you still have rent, food, insurance, and other bills. But I'm just using this to illustrate the scale. Now, let's compare that to Indonesia. In a metropolitan city like Jakarta, the median monthly income is around 5.8 million rupiah, which is roughly around $345 per month, or about 4,100 per year. Meanwhile, a new car can cost between 140 million to 170 million rupiah, which is around $10,000 to $12,000. Huge gap. So when you look at the ratio, the gap is huge. And that made me think differently about affordability. Sometimes when I hear people in the US talk about struggling, and yes, many people truly are struggling over here. But I can't help but to compare it to what the average Indonesian couple faces. If the cost of living in Jakarta realistically range around 4.5 to 6 million rupiah per month, and the median income is close to that range, the margin becomes very thin. This made me realize that while living in America feels expensive, there is still generally more economic cushion compared to Indonesia. That doesn't mean one country is easy and the other is impossible. It just means that the scale of pressure looks different. Living in the West changed the way I see economic struggle. It gave me perspective on both sides. Number 3, social energy. What I mean by social energy is the way people in the US and people in Indonesia communicate with you. In the US, someone can have small talk with you, smile, and say, "Have a good day." And that might just be the end of it. People here respect personal space. They don't usually get too involved unless you've built deeper connection. So there are clear boundaries. When I first moved here, I actually liked that. It felt organized. No one was overly curious and everyone respected your privacy. But when I went back to Indonesia, I noticed the difference immediately. The way people communicate there feels warmer right away. More smiles, more questions, and usually more engagements. I remember when I was younger, I used to think that some of those personal questions were too pushy. I felt like they were invading my privacy. But as I have grown older, I started to see it differently. Most of the time, it wasn't about judging me. It was genuine curiosity. In the US, people usually won't ask you when you're getting married or how much you make. Those topics are considered very personal. In Indonesia, those same questions can be asked casually, almost like everyday conversation. It's not necessarily about being intrusive, it's just a different way of connecting. Living in the West made me more comfortable with boundaries. Going back to Indonesia reminded me that curiosity can also be a form of warmth. So those are some of the differences that living in the West taught me about Indonesia. Now remember, it doesn't make me prefer one over the other. Instead, it made me realize that there are trade-offs between the two, and I really appreciate both sides and what they offer. It also made me realize how unique my experience is, and how much I value being able to understand and live within the two cultures. So yeah, I hope this brought some value to you. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like if this was helpful in any way, and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.